oh, she looks guilty as hell. And then I'm looking at it and I'm saying, did you really say that? Mm-hmm. Did you really say that Caitlin Clark should thank her Heavenly Stars that she wouldn't be worth anything if she wasn't playing in the WNBA? Did you really say? See, all of these things that Nafisha Collier brought up.
Welcome back to Basketball Zone. Today's story is something you absolutely don't want to miss. A huge WNBA development has everybody talking, and these latest revelations could completely shift the entire conversation. So stay with me right until the end, because we're breaking down what happened, why it matters, and what might happen next. Let's dive straight into today's story. For 27 years, the WNBA struggled to capture attention. Finally, a superstar is generating massive money and attracting millions of viewers. Yet, the league office seems to be pushing back. Now, something shocking has reportedly been revealed by Stephen A. Smith. Could the commissioner actually be trying to destroy her own golden goose? This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about corporate jealousy and controlling egos. If you enjoy this content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Surprisingly, over 85% of viewers still haven't subscribed. It's completely free, takes only a second, and means everything to us. So, have you subscribed yet? Awesome! Thank you so much for all your support. Now, let's get back to the story.
Caitlin, can you make it from there? Hey, Caitlin, how about from here?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, she can't make it from there. No chance.
Caitlin, conmigo, let. You got it.
I'm not even gonna ask.
Hey, Caitlin, from here might be impressive. Am I right?
Whatever, Chet.
From right here.
From there.
Is this the clearest case of self-destruction in sports history, or has WNBA leadership completely lost its mind? Share your thoughts in the comments. Since this situation is absolutely wild, let's take a closer look at what really happened. A fresh commercial featuring Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever star started making the rounds. That doesn't sound unusual, right? Wrong. Apparently, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Angelbert and league officials as a whole completely lost it over this advertisement. We're talking about private meetings, late-night phone calls, and what Stephen A. Smith describes as nothing less than outright fury coming from the very top.
Let me clarify first, because it's proxy season, right? No CEO do you just put the base pay in there. You put their bonus, you put their stock options, you put everything. Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So, of course, they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained. And actually, it's low because she's the #1 pick. She'll make a little more than that. But she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements. She's actually, because she declared to become pro, her endorsements are higher in dollar value. She has a global platform now, not just a U.S. platform. So she's going to do just fine, as will the top players in the league, as every league does. Also, there's comparisons to the men. Those men's leagues are 75 to 120 years old. We're tipping off our 28th season. I would say if you looked at them 28 seasons in, we're further ahead. But I realize we still have a lot of work to do. And it's all about the ecosystem.
Now pause for a second and think about how absurd this situation is. Millions of viewers who might never normally watch women's basketball are discovering your league because of a massive national commercial featuring your biggest star. Any competent sports organization would usually respond with excitement. Celebrate it with a press release. Promote the moment across social media and ride that momentum straight to the bank. But not the WNBA. Instead, they appear to respond with anger and hostility. Stephen A. Smith practically confirmed this, rather than merely speculating about it. All season, he has been one of Caitlin Clark's loudest supporters, yet his latest comments have taken a considerably darker direction. Now, he's discussing more than just officiating drama. He's revealing what he believes is deeper dysfunction within the league's leadership. SAS says the mood coming from WNBA headquarters isn't celebration over their recent success. Instead, because one player has become more influential than the entire organization, there is fear, resentment, and jealousy everywhere inside the league.
commercial. Lisa Bluter was in the commercial, Travis Scott was in the commercial, Travis Kelce was in the commercial, Jason Kelce was in the commercial, like the podcast thing, which we're going to.
Let's break down why this specific commercial sparked so much chaos. Caitlin Clark isn't presented as merely another WNBA player in these high-budget advertisements. Whether it's Wilson, Gatorade, or State Farm, she's showcased as a standalone powerhouse and a genuine cultural phenomenon. The value of the product is massive. She comes across as confident, independent, and most importantly, larger than the WNBA itself in the eyes of league officials.
Super hype, and they also launched the campaign From Anywhere, which is just perfect for Caitlin Clark. And obviously, fans have been waiting for a CC's signature shoe for years. It feels like years at this point. She is now 2 seasons into the WNBA, and we've gotten the signature logo, and we've also gotten some merch, but that signature shoe is what everybody is on the edge of their seat for. And she recently went on New Heights once again to talk about her signature shoe. And she talked about the new technology that will be going in.
This is incredible for fans. You want to tune into basketball because it is exciting. Yet, for executives like Kathy Angelbert, this represents a complete surrender of control. Think about it. That commercial was not created by the league. They did not control the narrative, and they had no approval over its creative direction. When the commissioner watches Clark appearing in these polished advertisements, she sees a player who does not need the WNBA in order for her career to flourish. Clark has created her own empire, her own financial ecosystem, and her own powerful influence. That total disappearance of leverage is exactly where the anger Stephen A. Smith repeatedly talks about comes from. Professional sports leagues traditionally maintain authority over their athletes because players rely on the league for exposure and compensation. Caitlin Clark has completely bypassed that traditional structure. Everybody knows she makes more money away from the court than she does playing on it, because financial strength creates influence, and influence makes people uncomfortable, especially those who are accustomed to holding the power. According to insiders, the timing of this particular commercial is what truly set everything in motion. During the season, the league has worked extremely hard to push a collective narrative. Fans are repeatedly reminded that plenty of other players matter. They want attention focused on the overall system, the other athletes, and the league's history. Then, suddenly, this 30-second advertisement arrives and completely tears that narrative apart. It reminds every viewer that the commissioner is not actually the person creating the attention surrounding this league. The Iowa girl can step onto the court and knock down shots from the logo. League leadership finds it extremely uncomfortable when Clark's premium brand partnerships are placed beside the WNBA's outdated, low-budget promotional efforts because the comparison exposes their shortcomings. That embarrassment is slowly turning into anger. The WNBA struggled for 27 years to become widely recognized. Then one athlete comes along and accomplishes, within a single season, what they could not achieve across nearly 3 decades. That has to sting. On this subject, Stephen A. Smith has been absolutely relentless. He has pointed out how absurd it is for a commissioner who presents herself as a business expert to become emotionally unsettled simply because one player is attracting enormous attention. His argument is that the anger may actually be hiding incompetence. Every time Clark signs another major endorsement, or appears in a viral commercial, it becomes another reminder of everything the WNBA has failed to accomplish throughout the years. Now, look at the situation from Kathy Angelbert's perspective. Imagine that you are the commissioner. You are supposed to be the business-minded executive responsible for growing the league. Yet Gatorade, Wilson, and State Farm are promoting your sport more effectively than you ever managed to do yourself. That is humiliating. It suggests that you may not be especially effective at your own job. So, instead of studying that success and hiring stronger marketing teams to reproduce that momentum, the response appears to be resentment and frustration. And SAS has also connected the attitude inside the locker room with the attitude inside the boardroom. Why would opposing players feel compelled to respect the commissioner if she appears irritated by Clark's financial success? That negativity spreads downward. When leadership refuses to protect its biggest star and reacts to her achievements with hostility instead of pride, it tells everyone else that targeting her is acceptable. Some of the ridiculous hard fouls and cheat shots witnessed this season could potentially be understood through that lens. We need to place this anger within the larger history of the WNBA. For years, a particular group with a particular philosophy has controlled the league. They view the WNBA as a cause, a movement, and a collective effort that deserves recognition and respect. Then there is Caitlin Clark, representing individual fame, commercial success, and unapologetic personal branding. She does not fit that established model. She disrupts the hierarchy that has existed for years. The commercial makes that disruption impossible to ignore. It presents Clark as a powerful individual operating independently from the group. WNBA leadership spent decades trying to convince the public that the league itself was the product. They promoted the collective, the organization, and the shield. But Clark's corporate partners market her as an individual icon. That fundamental disagreement over what actually sells is creating enormous tension. The old guard feels betrayed. They believe that because an Iowa girl can shoot from anywhere and immediately become a viral sensation, decades of their foundational work are being forgotten. This is the same kind of intensity that surrounded Clark's Olympic selection controversy. As Stephen A. Smith argued, the old guard made that decision to send a message and preserve the existing hierarchy. The message was simple: wait your turn. Pay your dues. But major commercial brands do not care about waiting your turn. They purchase relevance right now. That conflict between the fast, merit-driven advertising world and the slow, seniority-driven league structure is creating internal disorder. The commissioner is trapped between those two realities, becoming increasingly frustrated with the new environment instead of adapting to it. And because professional sports are ultimately businesses, we need to talk about the money. The reaction to Clark's commercial represents a perfect example of the corporate dysfunction Stephen A. Smith has repeatedly accused the WNBA of displaying. When an athlete in a major league such as the NBA or NFL lands a massive national advertisement, the commissioner celebrates. Why? Because the entire league becomes more valuable. Casual viewers are introduced to games. Merchandise becomes easier to sell. The overall business benefits. So why would WNBA leadership supposedly be upset? Because they are not receiving the recognition. The league looks inexpensive and unprofessional when Clark's off-court earnings dramatically exceed her on-court compensation. A public relations problem appears when casual fans watch Clark starring in multi-million-dollar campaigns and then discover that her WNBA base salary is roughly $76,000. Suddenly, attention turns toward the pay gap and the lack of revenue sharing. The commissioner knows this. She knows every major commercial appearance reminds the public that the WNBA does not pay its stars anywhere near what their popularity might suggest. It invites questions. Why does this league appear so financially limited if this player is creating so much attention and generating so much commercial value? That is the uncomfortable question people begin asking. Instead of improving the revenue structure or embracing the exposure, leadership becomes defensive. It can appear as though they would rather Clark remain less famous so they would not have to confront these difficult financial questions. Fighting over scraps while Clark is building an entirely new pie is the definition of a scarcity mentality. Now, let us focus specifically on Cathy Angelbert. She was brought in as a CEO-style executive from Deloitte, reportedly known for business growth and financial analysis. Yet the Caitlin Clark phenomenon appears to have completely overwhelmed her. Her response to this new commercial era has looked awkward and rigid. Remember that during a televised interview, the same commissioner struggled to answer a straightforward question about racial hostility directed toward Clark. Her corporate-style non-answer reportedly backfired badly. According to Smith, Angelbert is frustrated because she understands that people are watching her closely. WNBA franchise owners are businesspeople. They see the numbers, the sold-out buildings, the merchandise disappearing from shelves, and the charter flights that Clark helped force the league to adopt. If the commissioner becomes viewed as an obstacle to growth, or if she appears petty about major advertisements instead of exploiting their benefits, her position could eventually become vulnerable. Fear may be driving some of this frustration. Fear that she is being exposed as the wrong leader for this changing era. Angelbert does not appear capable of matching the speed of Clark's rise. The commercial represents exactly that speed. It is polished, fast-moving, and designed to connect with audiences everywhere. Meanwhile, official WNBA advertising can often appear slow, dated, and cumbersome. The commissioner is losing badly in this competition between effectiveness and presentation. Reports suggest she is resentful about being overtaken by her own player instead of attempting to match Clark's momentum. The one word that seems to fit is jealousy, and we have to say it. Stephen A. Smith has used that word. Charles Barkley has used it too. Normally, jealousy is something we discuss between athletes. But SAS is now suggesting that the same emotion reaches the executive level. A commissioner can actually become jealous of her own player. But why would that happen? Because Clark possesses greater practical influence and cultural power than Angelbert. The world listens when Caitlin Clark speaks. Many people either ignore Kathy Angelbert or do not even know who she is when she talks. For an executive who is accustomed to being the person in control, that is an extremely difficult reality to accept. Regardless of what the standings say, this advertisement strengthens Clark's position as the face of women's basketball. For years, the league office attempted to manufacture stars and tell fans whom they should support. When Clark arrived, everything happened naturally, organically, and almost uncontrollably. The anger resembles the frustration of a micromanager who suddenly discovers that she cannot control the situation. Clark does not need their approval or their money, so they cannot dictate what she wears, what she says, or which brand she chooses to represent. Her independence directly challenges their authority. That can appear in unusual ways, including the amount of time WNBA social accounts take to post Clark's highlights compared with those of other players. Fans have documented this pattern throughout the season. It begins at the highest level, and it is petty and immature. But perhaps the most revealing part of this entire situation is what the league does not do. Did the official WNBA account share this new advertisement when it was released? Did they congratulate their star for introducing the sport to a broader audience? Did they issue a statement celebrating the partnership? No. Complete silence. WH. Struggle. Perhaps they are allowing the rules to become a free-for-all so they can eventually say, "See, she's not that special," hoping she gets knocked down a level. But every time she gets back up and